Good evening and welcome to our last Doing Good from a Distance, Jazz, Jokes, and Jesus. I know we only had 3 this year, but it has sure gone fast. Turns out I was a little off on my numbers on Sunday morning. The first week we brought in $673. Woohoo! No, every penny is appreciated. The second week, we brought in $4,215. So our total going into tonight is $4,888. That's about $1,200 per organization. Friends, I am grateful. $1,200 under the circumstances is amazing, but it gets better. In addition, we have a matching gift from an anonymous donor, $2,500. So right now, we're sitting at about $7,500. If we match the gift with our offering tonight, we'll be over $10,000 this year. We need everyone to step up. Every dollar you donate up to $2,500 is worth $2 tonight. Miracles do happen. Thanks be to God. Remember, every penny we raise goes to our partner agencies, Food Rescue, Street Outreach, the Salvation Army, and Love Thy Neighbor. I know some of you think I should take some of the money and get my hair cut. But that's not how it works. For over 20 years, we've given away every penny, well over $100,000. You can send your checks via the U.S. Postal Service to the Presbyterian Church, 701 Westminster Road, Traverse City, Michigan, 49688. 8 years, I can get my zip code down. 49686. Or you can give online at our church website, tcpresby.org/donate. Thank you everyone who has helped make this possible, especially Angela and Matt Williford, our live streaming team. Thank you Backroom Gang for letting us use your CD. Thank you listeners and donors. Our friends at St. Francis, and I'm looking to where you always sit, we miss you. Can't wait till next year when we can be together again. Friends, you know why we're here. To have a good time listening to some great jazz courtesy of the Backroom Gang and some not so great jokes courtesy of yours truly, to raise some money for some great organizations helping others to enjoy life a little more, to give thanks to God, and to keep doing good together, even from a distance. Thank you all for another great year. Would you join me in a spirit of prayer? Gracious God, our Creator and Redeemer, you are the Lord and giver of life, and you have called us to serve our neighbors near and far. Your love and compassion abound. You know our every need and have blessed us in countless ways we cannot begin to measure. We give thanks for your grace and blessing, which empower our simple acts to bring consequential change to the lives of those with whom we serve. Though we sometimes get caught up in a world where there are so many fears and temptations, where there is so much to threaten the precious gift of life you have provided for us, we know and trust that you are with us, and our lives are forever in your care. Bless our time together this evening with meaning and purpose. As we enjoy music, laughter, and fellowship, open our hearts to return the favor, that the gifts we offer this night may bring joy, laughter, and friendship to those served by our partner agencies. May all we say and do and offer be for the greater good of your new creation. In Jesus Christ our Lord, amen. Enough talk, let's get to work. Here come the saints. Angela, take it away. If you were here last week, you're probably thinking, I forgot my tambourine. No, Angela hid them all. Next year, I'll be back with a tambourine, or maybe a cowbell. Some of you know my little buddy Marley. He's down in Barbados, we miss him. This one's for him. A little boy was in a relative's wedding. As he was coming down the aisle, he would take 2 steps, stop, and turn to the crowd. While facing the crowd, he would put up his hands like claws and roar. So it went. Step, step, roar! Step, step, roar! All the way down the aisle. As you can imagine, the crowd was near tears from laughing so hard by the time he reached the pulpit. When the pastor asked what he was doing, the little boy sniffed and said, I was being the ring bear. A colleague of mine from the States took a well-earned holiday and decided to go to one of those large golf resorts where Arnold Palmer often played. As my friend approached the most difficult hole on the course, the caddy said, when Arnold Palmer plays this hole, he uses a 3-iron and says a prayer. I'll certainly give it a try, my preacher friend remarked. But when the ball landed in the water, he said, I guess the Lord didn't hear me. He probably heard you, the caddy said, but when Arnold Palmer says his prayers, he keeps his head down. This one's for all of my Michigan friends who drive their trucks on the lake in the winter. 2 guys decide to go ice fishing. They head out, find a nice spot, cut a hole in the ice and stick in their poles. Suddenly, a loud voice from above booms, there are no fish here. The 2 guys look around at each other, look up, and they don't see anyone. They figure the voice knows what it's talking about, so they get up and find another spot on the ice, cut a hole, and stick in their poles. Once again, the voice booms from above. There are no fish here. They look around, look at each other, then look up again, and they don't see anyone. They find another spot on the ice, cut a hole, and stick in their poles. Once again, the loud voice booms from above. There are no fish here. They look around, look at each other, then look up, again seeing no one. One of them calls out, is this God? The voice responds, no, this is the skating rink manager. There are no fish here. Band, take it away. habits die hard. Here is the microphone. You know, we discovered after the first week, we get a lot more money when I turn on my mic, so thank you, Matt. Again, Matthew chapter 14, verses 13 to 21. Now, when Jesus heard this, he withdrew from there in a boat to a deserted place by himself. But when the crowds heard it, they followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them and cured their sick. When it was evening, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a deserted place, and the hour is now late. Send the crowds away so that they may go into the villages and buy food for themselves." Jesus said to them, "They need not go away. You give them something to eat." They replied, "We have nothing here but 5 loaves and 2 fish." And Jesus said, "Bring them here to me." Then he ordered the crowds to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven, blessed and broke the loaves, and gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the crowds. And all ate and were filled. And they took up what was left over the broken pieces, 12 baskets full. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. You give them something to eat. Have you ever tried to make stone soup? Most of us as children, parents, grandparents, or teachers have probably heard the story of stone soup countless times, but have you ever tried the recipe? If you haven't heard the story, stone soup is a recipe for creating community. Sure, there was a village, but everybody was looking out for themselves. When a stranger happens by, she talks to a few individuals, but there's no community. Where were the folks saying, "Hey, she's hungry, let's get some food"? Did they even know what it meant to be community, to care for others? As the story goes, this traveler happens by a village. She's looking for food for her family or friends and a little bit for herself. The villagers appear to be quite poor and hungry. When she asked about food, the villagers said they didn't have enough for themselves, let alone this stranger and her friends. Undaunted, she puts 5 large stones in a cauldron and begins to make stone soup. Before the stranger came, everyone in the small village went hungry. No one had enough to eat. Each person hoarded what little they had. After the stranger's visit, the villagers were heard to proclaim, "We shall never go hungry again, now that we know how to make soup from stones." How did she do it? How did she bring new life to this village? She didn't have food rescue. She couldn't go to Tom's. There were no Carol's care packages. How did she do it? She picked up a few large Petoskey stones, maybe some Leland blues to give it flavor, and stood in the center of town, cooking the stones in a pot. Was she crazy? Crazy as a fox? She helped people see how much they truly had to share. She showed them what they could do together. She offered them the blessing of communion. People stopped hoarding their possessions. They discovered the joy of sharing whatever they had with each other. Some brought carrots, some brought onions, some brought meat, whatever they had to give. They gathered together, they shared stories, they shared their lives. Breaking bread together, no one went hungry. All were fed. as they shared the blessing of communion. Does this story sound familiar? I hope so. This stranger who gave the villagers new life sounds a little like Jesus and the communion he creates when we share what we have. Before the stranger arrived, the people of the village lived in fear. They couldn't imagine feeding this stranger and her friends. Having shared in this communion of stone soup, they learned to live differently, looking out for each other. When Jesus told his disciples to feed the crowd of 5,000, they thought he was crazy. They couldn't imagine what little they had to offer, a few loaves and a couple of fish, would do any good. But when the little they had to offer was taken, blessed, broken, and given by God, there was an abundance, and all were filled. Friends, it's important we learn the blessing of communion here on earth. Because as Ann Landers discovered years ago, it's the difference between heaven and hell. She writes, "A man spoke with the Lord about heaven and hell. The Lord said to the man, 'Come, I will show you hell.' They entered a room where a group of people sat around a huge pot of stew. Everyone was famished, desperate, starving. Each held a spoon that reached the pot, but each spoon had a handle so much longer than their own arm that it could not be used to get the stew into their own mouths. The suffering was terrible. 'Come now, I'll show you heaven,' the Lord said. They entered another room, identical to the first. The pot of stew, the group of people, the same long-handled spoons. But there, everyone was happy and well-nourished. 'I don't understand,' said the man. 'Why are they happy here when they were miserable in the other room and everything is the same?' The Lord smiled. 'It's simple. Here, they have learned to feed each other.' Band, you're up.
It was early one Sunday morning, the sun was shining bright. The lady love of old Bill Bailey was hand close on the line in her backyard and working hard. She married a B&O brakeman, loved and turned her out, and moaning like a spoon-fed cat with a big crowd hanging round. To that crowd, she yelled out loud, "Well, won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home?" She moaned the whole night out. "I do the cooking, honey, I pay the rent. I know I done you wrong. Remember that rainy evening I threw you out with nothing but a fine tooth comb? But I know I'm to blame. Ain't that a shame? Bill Bailey, won't you please come on home?" Yes, it was early one Sunday morning. The sun was shining bright. The lady love of old Bill Betty was hanging clothes on the line in her backyard and working hard. Ah, she married a B&O brakeman who loved and turned her out, and moaning like a spoon-fed calf with a big crowd hanging round. And to that crowd, she yelled out loud, yeah, won't you come home, Bill Betty? Won't you come home? She moaned the whole night long. Yeah, I do the cooking, honey. I'll even pay your rent. I know I done you wrong. Remember that rainy evening? I found you out. Looking up, but I'm fine to go home. But I know I'm to blame. Ain't that a shame? Bill Bailey, won't you please come on home? Bill Bailey, won't you please come on home?
Thank you, band. That was one of my grandmother's favorites. Tonight we are blessed to have representatives from Food Rescue, Street Outreach, Salvation Army, and Love Thy Neighbor to tell us about the good work that they're doing in our community. I'm not sure which order they're going to go, so I'm just going to turn the mic right over to them. Come on, gentlemen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tony Nelson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Love Thy Neighbor. I've been at Love Thy Neighbor for 8 years. Our organization has been around for 31 years. Most people know us as before we were Love in the Name of Christ, or Love Inc. January of 2019, we changed our name in order to keep all of our money local, as Love Inc. is a national organization. Our mission is to make caring connections to promote life changes. We do that. We have short-term ministries that we call our bridge ministries. We have a hygiene pantry, we have a crib ministry, we have a durable medical loan closet. Our transportation ministry helps out with gas cards and car repairs. We have a seasonal ministry, our Adopt a Family Christmas program. And we also have a household appliance ministry where we help out with used stoves and refrigerators. And then our long-term help, we help out with our life skills classes. We have a budgeting class, we have a parenting class, and we also have a healthy cooking on a budget class, which is our most popular class because they get to cook stuff in the kitchen, and it's a 6-week class. In the last class, they end up with a crock pot and a new crock pot cookbook. But we are a Christian ministry. We make no bones about it. We pray with people over the phone. Our classes have scriptures. Our programs have scriptures. Anybody that calls us, they become part of our family. If we can't help someone, we point them in the right direction. But our motto is, when a caring Christian meets a neighbor in need, an intersection is created. And our goal is to make as many intersections as we can, and just to promote the love of Jesus. And that is what we do. When you call us, you become part of our family. I've had people that have, I've helped maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 years ago. They still call me and let me know how they're doing. And that is just great. And we just thank you for having us here tonight, and thank you.
Thank you, Tony. And it looks like Matt.
Well, good evening. I'm Lieutenant Matt from the Salvation Army. Our statement, our mission statement is we're an international movement, part of the Evangelical Universal Christian Church. Our message is based on the Bible. ministry is motivated by the love of God, and our mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and to meet human needs in His name without discrimination. So while that's our mission statement, I feel like we embody that. And so we have many different programs that allow us to do that. Many are short-term fixes, whether it's rental assistance or coming to receive a food basket, or it's a community meal. Those are some of the short-term. Tonight, and I shared about that last week, but tonight I want to focus on one program that we have. It's called Pathway of Hope. And this is a chance where we intersect and we enter into the lives of individuals in an intentional way. They allow us to enter into their story. And I wanted to share one of those stories with you tonight of one of the people that we were able to come alongside in Traverse City. It was a mother and a daughter made up the whole family. And the mother came in very afraid of kind of what the future held. She didn't have a job. She didn't really have stable housing. And so in this program, Pathway of Hope, we allowed them to set the goals. It's not a cookie-cutter program. And they tell us what they're looking forward to do. And so we can then come alongside them. And so one of the goals that she had was just to get a job. And so as we started interviewing her and really getting down into it, well, why can't we get a job yet? Well, I have my daughter. I need child care. Come to find out, the reason why she couldn't get child care was because as a young lady or as a young girl, she was sexually abused. And so the fear of leaving her child behind to allow that to happen to her clouded every other thing possible. And so when we got down to it, the core issue was not she wasn't able to hold a job. The core issue wasn't she wasn't able to find stable housing. It was really the fact that she, above all else, did not want the same thing to happen to her child. And so then as looking forward, we were able to come alongside her. So week after week, we're meeting with her. And we go to a daycare place. We called ahead and looked at all of the things with her. And we went there with her and did the interview there. And as things came around, she started, okay, maybe I can trust this. Because her mom, trying to make ends meet, trusted her with someone, and that's where things went through. And so she came and found the child care place that she liked. And so every meeting she came week after week, and she brought her child, her daughter. And the story ends, I mean, the story's still going now, but the last interaction formally that we had was she came to the office for her last meeting without her daughter. She was able to trust, and she got a job. She was able to trust the child care and really looked into it and knew that she was going to be safe. And so the mom's now able to provide for her in ways that are monetary and stable housing, all because of the way we were able to come alongside of the mom and the daughter. And so those are ways in which we can enter their story and come alongside. And so the other just happened today, the other story I want to share briefly. I was leaving the office for the day, and I was packing up my briefcase, and our case manager came into our office and said, there's someone who just came to the door, so worried about work, he didn't really have time to look and find a solution for his housing, and he just wants a tent. And what can we do? And so we looked around, we found some gift cards that we had for Myers that were designated just for other things besides food. And so after talking to the man, and we said, I think we will be able to help you. And so we headed over there, and he said, all I knew this morning is I just wanted a place to sleep, and you've been able to provide that for me. And it's a long-term fix. And it was just something, we asked, do you want to look at a hotel? Nope, I want a tent. I just need somewhere. My housing keeps falling through. I just need somewhere for the meantime. And so we have the opportunity in those cases to step alongside and maybe provide longer-term fixes as well as the short-term. And that's the beauty of this community that we've seen is the other people who also are presenting tonight. They're great organizations, and so we get to stand alongside of them, shoulder to shoulder, fighting through. And you're going to hear from Food Rescue, who is one of the people that helps us to provide the meals that we can. And so the community that we have entered into and that we're a part of is amazing. And so thank you for your donations. Thank you for your support. in the many ways that you come alongside us as well. Thanks.
What's that?
I wasn't sure where to look.
You can look right there.
Nice. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing those stories, and Tony for sharing about your ministry as well. It's so great to be in partnership with you. We are providing food to pantries and meal sites throughout the 5 Northwest counties. And right now we're doing more work than ever before. We're providing 7,700 pounds of food every day. It's about $65,000 worth of food that we're picking up and distributing to the pantries and meal sites so that they can serve the pantries, the families and individuals in need, so that meals can be better served at Salvation Army, or so that the pantry is stocked at Father Fred or Central United Methodist. The list goes on. And it's been 5 months now since the start of COVID, and we are working more effectively and with more compassion than ever before. June, the summer months, are usually our quietest month. June was our biggest month that we have ever had. 200,000 pounds of food that we picked up and delivered. And we're working with more partners and in better partnership with those in our community. So we had the opportunity to meet the needs of Area Agency on Aging when they called us. They said, we need to get food to seniors. We need help with these USDA food boxes. And us, along with so many other nonprofits, are saying, we've got these resources. We need to look at this in a different way. We need to solve this problem and work together. So we've expanded our services to cover commissions on aging and the senior centers and supporting Meals on Wheels. Likewise, we, in partnership with the Northwest Food Coalition, are helping to support local farms through Groundworks Local Food Relief Fund, which has raised over $100,000 to buy local produce from farms. So we are working with them, providing warehouse space, repacking facility, and the distribution network to get that food out. And these are the same farmers that have been working with us from day one, and it's really something special that we're now a part of. We now have the opportunity to give back in a way that we haven't before. We have not been able to do this alone. It's really special to be here again. I am so grateful that you've chosen us again, and your support from the start has meant so much. It's amazing how many people from the congregation pop in and out of my life. I had my roof looked at the other day, Dave Ferris, and Dave said, because sometimes I answer my personal phone, hello, this is Taylor Food Rescue. And he's like, did you say he's looking at my roof. Did you say Food Rescue? I said, yeah. He said, I was in the room there when we decided to go with Food Rescue, and we decided to start Food Rescue. I was like, there you go. So I am also wearing Ryan Hannon's hat with Steet Outreach. He is on a well-deserved vacation. He has been working his tail off, as have many of the others that work with him at Steet Outreach, as well as at the Goodwill homeless shelter. They have been working overtime. These folks are saints. And what Ryan does daily is go out into the community and find those who are experiencing homelessness, who do not have a home, and he makes sure that they get the resources they need in order to be healthy. Their main goal is to get those folks in a house. So how do you solve the issue of homelessness? You need to provide a house. And that's what Ryan and his team have done throughout, in the course of COVID-19, they have housed 10 people, which is amazing. And they're working with 100 other individuals and families right now to make sure that they are being checked in on, that they have masks, that they have hand sanitizer, that they are not alone in this, especially when so many of us have felt alone. Ryan gives his best. I'm so glad he is taking his time off to recuperate, because this is not over either. We've got a lot more work to do, and we really appreciate all of your support. Thank you.
Taylor, thank you, and thank you for mentioning our connection with Food Rescue. My predecessor, Homer Nye, he's touched thousands of lives with his ministry, and helping to start Food Rescue was one of the many significant contributions he's made. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful that you mentioned that as well. Friends, I hope you hear the common theme. You've got 4 great agencies: Street Outreach, Food Rescue, the Salvation Army, Love Thy Neighbor, working together with other partners in our community, working together with churches like ours to bring hope. And right now, in this season of COVID, I'm not sure there's anything we need more than hope. So thank you for tuning in, supporting us with your contributions. Know that you are making a difference in people's lives by doing good from a distance. Angela. A pastor is walking down the street one day when he notices a small boy trying to use the doorbell on a house across the street. However, the boy is very small, and the doorbell is too high for him to reach. After watching the boy's efforts for some time, the pastor walks across the street up to the little fellow and rings the doorbell. Kneeling down next to the child, the pastor smiles and asks, "Now what, my little man?" To which the boy replies, "Run!" This one's from my daughter, Elizabeth. The preacher was wired for sound with a lapel mic, and as he preached, he moved briskly about the platform, jerking the mic cord as he went. He moved from one side to the other, each time getting wound up in the cord and nearly tripping before jerking it again. After several circles and jerks, a little girl in the third pew leaned toward her mother and whispered, "If he gets loose, will he hurt us?" Oh, I love my jokes. I'm going to dedicate this one to my son Will and his wife Nimi. Those of you who don't know, Will just finished seminary. He's following in his father's footsteps to go into ministry. So I think this one's appropriate. And they just got married this summer, so it's especially appropriate. The poor country parson was livid when he confronted his wife with a receipt for a $250 dress she had bought. "How could you do this?" he exclaimed. "I don't know," she wailed. "I was standing in the store looking at the dress, then I found myself trying it on. It was like the devil was whispering to me, 'Wow, you look great in that dress. You should buy it.'" "Well," the husband persisted, "you know how to deal with the tempter. Just tell him, 'Get behind me, Satan.'" "I did," replied his wife. "But then he said, 'It looks great from back there, too.'" Oh, my wife's not laughing on that one. Woo! Band, bring us home. Get me out of trouble.
Mississippi. We'll take a boat to the land of dreams, steam down that river down to New Orleans. The band's there to meet us. We'll have old friends to greet us, where all our good friends always meet. Heaven on earth, they call that Basin Street. Basin Street is the street where all our good friends come to meet. New Orleans, that land of dreams. You'll never know how nice it seems, just how much it really means. Glad to be, yes sirree, where welcome's free and dear to me, where I can lose my
Is it really that time? Here we are at the end of another year. Friends, Dixieland Devotions always stirs up so much emotion in me. Doing good from a distance, same thing. I grew up in the Quad Cities, on the Mississippi. We had Bix Beiderbecke Jazz Festival. I listened to guys like Bill Allred and Josh Duffy's orchestra, and actually heard the Backroom Gang when I was a kid. And you know, I'm up here, I'm thinking about all those memories, and I'm thinking about Bill Kramer, who was a friend of my, dear friend of my grandparents. We'd be out camping, he'd be playing How Great Thou Art on his trumpet. Lot of wonderful memories come rushing back every year when we're doing Dixieland devotions or doing good from a distance. But I think the most important thing is just the recognition how much good we are able to do because of your generosity. The agencies that we partner with every year are working day in and day out to help people in our community. And they're working together, they're making good use of the resources. It's an honor and a privilege that we can have this event every year and raise the money that we do. But we don't do it, we can't do it without your generosity. And so I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be with you and look forward to being together again someday. Would you join me in a spirit of prayer? Loving God, you not only welcome us into your life, but you open the eyes of our hearts that we may see this life more clearly. Give us courage to be so open to others, to let them become so dear to us that we might share not only your gospel, but our lives, that they too may have the eyes of their hearts opened and see the wonders of your love for them in Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. 3 pirates walk into a bar, the 4th one ducks. Good night, see you next year. Angela, bring us home.